Just behind us here on Thomas Street, in front of St. Catherine's Church, that Robert Emmet was executed on September the 20th, 1803, having been condemned to death the previous day at Green Street Courthouse. He was sentenced to death for his part in the failed rebellion of 1803, which had resulted in approximately 70 deaths, and including 50 local people and 20 members of the Crown Forces. And it took place also primarily on Thomas Street. It was a failed attempt to storm Dublin Castle. Emmet's probably most famous for his oration that he delivered when he was just about to be sentenced, the speech from the dock. There's lots of different versions of this speech. It's been used down through the years as a propaganda piece for all sides in the Irish struggle. This version that we're about to read is compiled of several editions, several different versions of the speech from the dock, but they all begin more or less the same way. My lords, I am asked what I have to say why sentence of death should not be pronounced on me according to law. I have nothing to say which can alter your predetermination, nor that it would become me to say with any view to the mitigation of that sentence and by which I must abide. But I have that to say which interests me more than life, and which you have laboured, as was necessarily your office in the present circumstances of this oppressed country, to destroy. I have much to say why my reputation should be rescued from the load of false accusation and calumny which has been heaped upon it in this court. I have been charged with that importance in the efforts to emancipate my country as to be considered the keystone of the combination of Irishmen, or as your lordship expressed it, the life and blood of the conspiracy. You do me honour over much. You have given to the subaltern all the credit of the superior. There are men engaged in this conspiracy who are not only superior to me, but even to your own conception of yourself, my lord. Men before the splendour of whose genius and virtues I should bow with respectful deference, and who would think themselves dishonoured to be called your friend, who would not disgrace themselves by shaking your blood-stained hand. And it seems there was uproar in the court at this moment. And Norbury responds, Mr. Emmet, you have endeavoured to establish a wicked and bloody provisional government. To which he responds, what, my lord, shall you tell me on my passage to the scaffold, which that tyranny of which you are merely the intermediate minister has erected for my destruction, that I am accountable for all the blood that has and will be shed in this struggle of the oppressed against the oppressor? And shall you tell me this, and shall I be so very a slave as not to repel it? Norbury responds, a different conduct would better become one who had endeavoured to overthrow the laws and liberties of his country. I do not fear to approach the omnipotent judge to answer for the conduct of my short life, and am I to stand here appalled before a mere remnant of mortality? By you too, if it were possible, to collect all the innocent blood you have shed in your unhallowed ministry into one great reservoir, your lordship might swim in it. Let no man dare, when I am dead, to charge me with dishonour. Let no man attaint my memory by believing that I could have engaged in any cause but of my country's liberty and independence, or that I became the pliant minion of foreign power in the oppression or the miseries of my countrymen. My lords, it may be a part of the system of angry justice to bow a man's mind by humiliation to the purposed ignominy of the scaffold. But worse to me than the purposed shame or the scaffold's terrors would be the shame of such foul and unfounded imputations as have been laid against me in this court. You, my lord, are a judge. I am the supposed culprit. I am a man, you are a man also. By a revolution of powers we might change places, though we never could characters. If I stand at the bar of this court and dare not vindicate my character, what a farce is your justice! Does the sentence of death which your unhallowed policy inflicts on my body condemn my tongue to silence and my reputation to reproach? Your executioner may abridge the period of my existence, but whilst I exist, I shall not forbear to vindicate my character and motives from your aspersions. And as a man to whom fame is dearer than life, I will make the last use of that life in doing justice to that reputation which is to live after me, and which is the only legacy I can leave to those I honour and love, and for whom I am proud to perish. As men, my lords, we must appear on the great day at one common tribunal. And it will then remain for the searcher of all hearts to show a collective universe who is engaged in the most virtuous actions or attached by the purest motives, my country's oppressors or... And at this point, Norbury interrupts him, asking him to get a move on. If you have anything to urge in point of law, you will be heard. But what you have hitherto said confirms and justifies the verdict of the jury. To which Emmet responds, My lords, will a dying man be denied the legal privilege of exculpating himself in the eyes of the community, an undeserved reproach thrown upon him during his trial by charging him with ambition and attempting to cast away for a paltry consideration the liberties of his country? Why did your lordship insult me, or rather, why insult justice in demanding why sentence of death should not be pronounced? I know, my lord, that form prescribes that you put the question. The form also prescribes the right of answering. This, no doubt, may be dispensed with, and so might the whole ceremony of the trial, since sentence was already pronounced at the castle before your jury was impanelled. Your lordships are but the priests of the oracle, and I submit, but I insist on the whole of the forms. If the spirits of the illustrious dead participate in the concerns of those who were dear to them in this transitory life, O ever dear and venerated shade of my father, look down now with scrutiny upon the conduct of your suffering son, and see if I have even for a moment deviated from those principles of morality and patriotism which it was ever your care to instill into my youthful mind, and for which I am now to offer up my life. My lords, you are impatient for the sacrifice. The blood which you seek is not congealed by the artificial terrors that surround your victim. It circulates warmly and unrifled through the channels which God created for nobler purposes, but which you are bent to destroy for purposes so grievous that they cry to heaven. Be yet patient. I have but a few words to say. My ministry is now ended. I am going to my cold and silent grave. My lamp of life is nearly extinguished. I have parted with everything that was dear to me in this life for my country's cause, and abandoned another idol I adored in my heart, the object of my affections. My race is run. The grave opens to receive me, and I sink into its bosom. I am ready to die. I have not been allowed to vindicate my character. I have but one request to ask at my departure from this world. It is the charity of its silence. Let no man write my epitaph, for as no man who knows my motives dares now vindicate them, let not prejudice or ignorance asperse them. Let them and me repose in obscurity and peace, my memory be left in oblivion, and my tomb remain uninscribed until other times and other men can do justice to my character. When my country takes her place among the nations of the earth, then and not till then let my epitaph be written. I have done.